Hello, my name is Erica Ormsby, and for those of you that don't already know me, I'm a two-time best-selling author, and I actually just came out with, this is my second book. It's called Strong Enough to Cry, and it's Discover the New Kind of Warrior Within and Become Unstoppable. And so this is this little fun bad boy. I'm obviously a lot tanner now than I was. But anyway, I wanted to talk about my book. It's wild because when right now we've all gone through, depending on when you're watching this, it may be down the road and you'll remember, or you're going to watch it sooner than later and you'll know that it's happening right now. But we are in the middle of the global pandemic where, that we're all experiencing, and so we're all at home. And so my book hit the bestsellers list the week that it was announced that California went on shutdown, and things have gotten really serious regarding all of it. And so I just never even talked about my book, and it just wasn't top tier importance in that moment. And so I just decided I wanted to take a minute to do that because I hadn't done it yet, and I really wanted to. And also, the information that's in the book is really relevant to what's going on even now, and it always will be. It's actually, the book is about, here, I'll read the back to you. It says, what if you discovered the weakest part of you is your greatest strength? Discover the new kind of warrior within and become unstoppable. And this back quote that I wrote, this is from me, and it's just something that I really, it's learning to harness the hidden power of your emotions, tap into your unlimited strength, know that you belong with certainty, and turn your ideas into gold. So where this book was coming from in me is that I've had a lifetime of pretty extreme emotions. We all have emotions as human beings, all of us. Some of us seem to have more extreme emotions than others, and you will read in my book where some of mine came from. But I have experienced this huge amount of emotion and aware of how extreme my emotions were since I was very young. And there was a part of me that developed that said, I don't want to feel anything that is painful. Not that anyone does. But I really shut it down. I really shut it down, and I looked at crying as a sign of weakness. I refused to cry. I wouldn't even cry alone. I felt like I was a survivor, and if I was going to be strong and warrior-like, that it was going to mean that I needed to show as little emotion or vulnerability as possible. And so I went through life and I was always very kind to everyone, but internally it was just like, nope, nothing's going to get to me, nothing's going to break me down. And of course life was getting to me, and of course life was breaking me down, but I had no outlet for it. I had no way to view it other than this. I just felt so much shame about how much I felt. And so as an entrepreneur, and as a public speaker, and as someone who works with lots of people, mostly in the business arena where, it's the huge amounts of vulnerability that come up with starting your own business or running your own company, or all the ins and outs and ups and downs with all of that, I really saw and have seen firsthand that, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. First, I'm not alone in having every spectrum of emotion. All humans do. But I really saw that this is a real issue where so many of us run from how much emotion we have, or run from the emotions that are painful or uncomfortable. And the thing that I realized was in my own life, I had a big wake-up call. I write about all these things in the book, but I had a big wake-up call where I just really hit the limit. It was, I'd created this one company. I'd hit like a peak of success and on paper and what everyone would think. And then I was just miserable. I was just miserable inside. And it was so confusing. It made sense for me to be miserable when nothing was going right. It really freaked me out when I was miserable and everything was going right. That really opened my eyes. And So I went on this journey. You'll read about it in the book if you if you get it. But I went on this journey. I made a big decision, sold the company, and and I was like, gosh, my reasons for selling were so off, and where and how I processed that information was so rough for me. And what it did was it opened this massive floodgate inside where I was going to either feel all the things that I was feeling and become so much more open to all the different parts of me, and I was going to get stronger, stronger than I had ever been, but with all of the emotion and embracing it, or I was going to keep doing what I had been doing, which was moving at 100 miles an hour to try to outrun all the pain and the frustration and the things that I was so afraid of inside of myself, and just keep this insane pace without taking 2 seconds to stop and enjoy anything. And I knew that those were, that's the road I'd been on. On paper, I could create great things, but internally I was miserable. I knew there had to be a way because I could see that other people could do it. I'd studied enough, I'd been enough on the self-help journey that I was like, gosh, there are people out there that are successful and fulfilled. And I want that road. And so I really took some really intense time to be able to get to the bottom of this inside of myself. And I hit a level of freedom that I didn't even know was possible. This is almost like the prequel, if you will, to my first book. My first book is I Am Happy, Healthy, Free. And that was about what I did with it's all about like how to shift your paradigm, how to change your mind, change your mindset, why we change our mindset, kind of debunking some of the really lining out that the power, it's so much more than just positive thinking, that there is an entire grounded theory, grounded science behind why what we focus on ends up becoming our reality. And it's all of the grounded theory behind that, and how I applied that to my life. And so that was my first book, I Am Happy, Healthy, Free. But this book, I really went into a lot more of the vulnerability, because I got a lot of feedback from my last book where people, they loved it. And their one thing was asking me, Erica, how are you happy all the time? And I was like, oh my gosh, I really missed something there, because I am not happy all the time. Wow. And in fact, a huge aspect, and that's what is in this book, a huge aspect of my happiness today is my willingness to be sad, my willingness to feel sad and embrace it and not run from it and not be mad at myself for it, and allow myself to have these really uncomfortable emotions and not be afraid of them and not feel like there's anything I need to frantically do to make them stop. That I feel stronger and more free than I have ever felt possible. And that is with embracing all of me, all the shit that comes up as an emotional human being, as we all are. So this really speaks to how to fully understand that it is okay that we are human, to fully embrace our humanity, and further, from embracing ourselves fully, the full spectrum of emotions that we have, men and women. And I address that in the book. I definitely address the issue with males feeling like they cannot have emotions, and the what has happened with them in that way, and the changes that we can make to support a different kind of situation for both men and women with our emotions. But I go into all of that so that we can stop feeling like we need to cut off some part of ourselves to not be hurt. It just creates a perpetual state of running. Let me see. There is. I did want to read. Oh, okay. So in the beginning, this is a quote from me where I wrote, the problem with trying to avoid uncomfortable emotions is that emotions are inherently unavoidable, interwoven throughout the human experience. To run from or suppress them is not only futile, but tethers us to them. To have the courage to turn and face, feel all that we feel, and not run, is a great act of courage. It is here we find peace, warriors who are strong enough to cry. And that is what I've become, a warrior that is strong enough to cry. I have nothing to run from, nothing I feel like I need to hide from. I don't need to hide myself from others. I don't need to hide myself from myself. And I just know that this is something that many of us have struggled with and have held so much in, and have perceived ourselves as having something wrong with us or as a sign of weakness of some form. And it's all illusion, because the truth is as human beings, emotions are one of our purest, most powerful forms of navigation in our life experience. And to deny them or try to cut off half of them disables us in our human experience. And it makes us less able to feel strong and less able to feel connected and less able to feel powerful, ironically. So this is a really kind of interesting spin on what it means to embrace all of the things that being an emotional human being entails, and gives us a new kind of paradigm shift to look at that, what if crying is probably one of the strongest things that we can do. And so anyway, I just encourage you to, you can download it on Kindle and just have it right with you, or you can order it. You can get it on Amazon. And I just would love to hear your feedback on it. And you can also join me further. I have a Facebook group that I've started, especially for people that are currently entrepreneurs or transitioning into being an entrepreneur and are trying to navigate all of those waters. I have a really great group on Facebook called Purpose, Power, Profit with Erica Ormsby, and we go over some great stuff in there. So you're welcome to join me there. It's free, and you can also check me out on my website and see some of the other things I've got going on, but that's ericainspired.com. And so I hope you're doing well and safe, and I hope that you are feeling strong enough to cry, and if not, you can just get this little book and you will be soon.